What's up, everybody? You got Price here. Welcome to We Want Picks, the DraftKings Breakdown Edition for UFC Fight Night Kansas City, headlined by Ian Machado, Garry, and Carlos Prates. Before I jump into it, make sure you go over to WeWantPicks.com and sign up to become a premium member. It is only $10 a month. $10 a month, and you're going to get an optimizer, the data analyzer. You have the best ownership in all of DFS. They beat Stochastic everybody every single week. You get betting picks from four guys who know what they're doing, so everything all included in one, and it's $10. It's a no-brainer. Head over there, sign up, become a premium member. Other than that, let's hop into this week. So we are sitting at 14 fights for the week, which is a nice big number for DFS purposes. We almost lost one, but we had a last-minute replacement. The headliner did change because this was supposed to be Khalil Roundtree and Jamal Hill, and now it's Machado, Garry, and Carlos Prates, both on short notice. So that fight should be a banger. I mean, Prates is a rising star. Machado just lost his 0. So, I mean, what a great headliner for Kansas City getting a fight night there. So it should be fun to watch. Co-main is it's Anthony Smith's retirement fight, so it is what it is. He probably should have retired after his last fight or even before it, but what can you do? It should be a pretty fun fight, though. There's only I believe two fights that have pretty wide betting range or betting odds, so everything's pretty close. Should be fun top to bottom. So without further ado, let's get into the card. I'm going to go over my favorite GPP play, my favorite cash play, my underdog I want to use, and then the favorite fight to target. So let's hop on into it. All right, so my GPP play of the week is going to be Michel Pereira. So, yes, everyone saw what happened his last fight as he headlined the fight night against Fluffy, who just drug him to the fucking mat and took his soul for 4.5 rounds. But I don't think Abus has the ability to do that because he doesn't have a gas tank like Fluffy does. I don't think anybody in that division does. So it's a matchup of questionable gas tanks. However, Pereira is a little more dangerous on the feet. He's more dangerous to find a submission. And I think he's going to just outclass Abus and get a powerful finish. So in his wins, he averages around 90 DraftKings points per win. So with that, at his price point, he'll pay off. So Michel Pereira, go all out for 15 minutes. You don't have to worry about the last 10. And just get off your back if you get taken down. So Michel Pereira, GPP play of the week. My cash play of the week is going to be Ikram Algerov. So he stepped up in his last fight. He was supposed to be the headliner at an Apex fight card. I don't remember who Whitaker was supposed to fight, but they dropped out, and so might have been Kamzat. But Ikram went ahead and took that fight on short notice. Flew from Vegas to the Middle East. The next week was headlining against a top 3 middleweight in the world. So yes, he got knocked out. However, the circumstances are, it is what it is. He's a young guy, went and took a shot. Can't really blame him there. It's probably a little more than he could handle at the moment, but, you never know until you hop in there and figure it out. So, his first 3 fights in the UFC, he finished with his own TKOs or KOs. So, I think we're going to see him just beat the shit out of Nunes. So, he lands almost 3.5 times the amount of significant strikes. He has the ability to grapple. I think we just see him ragdoll him and get a first-round finish. And like I said, in his first 3 UFC fights, he averaged over 110 DraftKings points. So we're going to need that again. He's very expensive, but I think he's going to beat the shit out of Nunes. And so my cash play of the week is Ikram. All right, so there are a couple considerations for the underdog play of the week this week, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Cameron Simon. So he was, up-and-coming, undefeated kid until about 18 months ago. He came in, beat everybody, scored well, and then just back-to-back losses. His last one, he got dragged all by Peyton Talbot, which, it is what it is. Talbot's a good up-and-coming prospect also. However, I think the UFC's just throwing him in against an undefeated prospect, which we've seen time and time again. A guy who's 3-2 in the UFC takes on an undefeated prospect who won the Contender Series, and he beats the shit out of the prospect. So it's not always going to happen, but I think Wellmaker is very good, but there's different levels to the UFC, and I think Simon's going to go ahead and show him that he's just not ready to compete yet. So when he wins, he averages 112 DraftKings points roughly in his wins. So at his price point, if he comes in and beats the shit out of Wellmaker, scores anything over like 85, he's more than pays off, and anything over 100, he's 100% optimal. So Cameron Simon is my dog of the week. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and take the easy way out with my fight to target because it's going to be Prates and Garry. Typically on a main event, they're 40-50% owned as the whoever's the public's on, and then the other one's like 35-ish, 30%. I think this one, no matter what, you should have one of these two guys in your lineup. With the price points, it makes sense to fit either of them with how you build. I think we're going to see a pretty technical fight from them. Prates is just probably going to come in and try and knock the shit out of Garry. Garry, of course, is shit talking the whole way up while Prates is just working. We have seen Garry resort to grappling if he has any issues standing up. We saw it with MVP, where he ended up taking him down. And then we saw it with Shavkat, where he actually showed he's able to withhold takedowns and then still be able to stand up and trade on the feet. I don't know if he can handle the power of Prates, because Prates is a monster. He hits you and you just go to sleep. What he did to Neil Magny was wild. But it should be a very fun fight. Garry was undefeated until he lost to Shavkat as a title eliminator at the pay-per-view in December. And Prates is undefeated in the UFC. You know, it's the fighting nerds who have all this hype around them. Every time they fight, one of them looks great. You know, besides Donna Brazil, who they don't talk about. But for the most part, the fighting nerds were awesome. Everyone's crazy. They all make each other better. Chute Boxe is another very good gym. It's where Oliveira trains. So we got two of the premier fight camps going against each other. But I think you need to have a piece of this. I think Prates will be a little more popular because he's cheaper, he's an underdog, and he has the style. And people just don't really like Ian Garry because he's kind of obnoxious and talks a lot of shit and is super confident. But my fight to target this week is Prates versus Ian Garry. Alright, so thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you head on over to WeWantPicks.com and sign up to become a premium member. Once again, it's only $10. Alright, see y'all next week.